So it's May already. Oh my goodness, can you believe we are already into May? But the beginning of a new month means that I have a new Open Gate subscription box, so that always makes it fun to be moving so quickly through the year. So here is the box. I'm ready to peek inside, so let's see what we got this month. All right, I love this subscription box. It's all wrapped up nicely. So the Open Gate Quilt box is always amazing. You get 2 projects. So we get a large project and then we get a small project and then some extra goodies in the box always. And here's our paper that tells us everything that is in the box. I'm gonna set it to the side. And then here are all of our goodies. So I'm gonna take them and set them out and we'll look at them one at a time. All right, so the first project is called Row Houses, and it looks like it would be a good table topper, even maybe a wall hanging, something like that. It is 17.5 inches by 44.5 inches. So I'm gonna open it up and let you get a closer look at it. So there is the photo that shows how the finished project will look. And we'll look at all the fabric. I love this sort of plaid. Just gonna lay the fabric out. You'll be able to see it all. This is really cute. It fits perfectly. It's like street signs. See that a little closer. Very cute. And then that is just a solid black. Really cute print. Very cute little project. I think the row houses look adorable. I think it would be a really fun pattern to put together. So this fabric, if you are liking it, is Main Street by Sweetwater for Moda Fabrics, if you want to look for that. All right, so project number 2 is the smaller project, and it is an iron cord keeper and a sole plate protector. So I am really excited about this. My husband does not love how I always leave the cord from my iron just laying across the floor from where I had it plugged in. So this might be a good reminder to me to wrap it up when I'm done so nobody's tripping over it. All right, so let's look at the fabric. So here is what it will look like. Here's the cord keeper and then the sole plate protector, and there's a ribbon going around here to hold it all together. And you'll see that we have everything for this project here. So the fabric is Fresh and Sweet by Janelle Penner for Wilmington Prints. And then we got Insulbright, elastic, ribbon, button, and fusible interfacing. So all the stuff we need to put this together. The elastic, the button, there is the ribbon there, and then the Insulbright to protect that sole plate. And here are the fabrics. And it looks like everything is cut to size to me. So it does say pre-cut kits, so that is awesome, I think. Maybe I should just go ahead and put this one together. Before I work on that project, let me show you the rest of the things that are in the box though. We can't get sidetracked right away. So our notion of the month is an iron cleaner. It has the instructions on the back to show you how to use it. So this is actually pretty convenient because if you were watching my last live, my iron had some dust that got burnt onto it and kind of stained my fabric a little bit. So this is perfect. I do need to clean my iron. Okay, and so each month we also get some Aurifil thread. And this is a 50 weight beige. And I think this will go perfect for the row houses. There was a lot of beige in that project. Now, when I was pulling everything out of the box, you may have seen it too, but the pattern this month that we received as a bonus, sometimes we receive a pattern, sometimes a fat quarter. This one is Blooming Petals, and it caught my eye right away. I really think it is a really pretty pattern. Definitely something I would like doing. So this one is definitely going into my stash to do at some point. So let's move on now and work on the pattern in the box. I'm really excited about that iron kit. Okay, so I'm going to start with the cord keeper first because in the pattern that is the first project that we work on. So with that, I'm going to have the smaller piece of fabric that was there in the kit. And then I'm also going to use the interfacing. So we're going to put the interfacing on 1/2 of the project and fuse it into place. So to fuse it into place, I'm just going to use the iron. And Monique from Open Gate Quilts does have the instructions for how to use the interfacing on the website, so you could find that. It does mention it in the on the paperwork we get talking about everything in the box. Okay, so you won't really be able to see it, but I do have the interfacing fused on, and you will be able to tell that that side of the fabric is a little more structured than the other side. All right, so after getting the interfacing fused on, we're going to want to add the elastic on. And so you're going to want to do this on the side that the interfacing is on, but on the right side of that side. So this is the side with my interfacing, and I'm going to place the elastic about 1.5 inches away from the edge of the side that the interfacing is on. And you see I have it curved so there's no twists in it or anything. And when I base this in place, I'm going to base about 1/8 of an inch away from the edge. But I'm going to make sure that my two ends of the elastic aren't on top of each other, just to reduce bulk there. So if you need to, put a pin in there to hold it in place. I'm going to back stitch over it just to make sure I got it good. And now after we do that, we're going to fold this right sides together and give it a quick press just to make sure it's nice and even. All right, and then starting on the side that the elastic is on, you'll be able to feel it in there. We're going to stitch around 1/4 of an inch. So we're going to stitch across the short end that the elastic is on and down the long end, and then leave the bottom open for turning. Now I backstitched at the beginning and the end of the stitching since I'm going to be turning this. It's just to make sure that those parts are secure when I turn this and push the points out. So after doing that, I'm going to clip the corners here just so that they lay nice and flat. And I'm even going to clip the side that is at the bottom where I haven't closed it yet. And then I'm just going to turn this right side out. I wonder where my turning tool is so I can push the points out. I may just use what I have on hand. Sometimes I do that. I just use what's near me. I'm trying to see if I have anything that'll even work. Probably that seam brush might. The smaller these pieces are, the harder it is to turn out. So there is my elastic. I might have to get up and find a turning tool just so I get this pushed out nice. Try just using this since it's here. Use what you have. All right, I'm gonna give this a good press, and then I'm gonna turn the ends in as well and line them up to cover up those raw edges. And then just top stitch around it after you press. All right, so there it is, all nice and pressed. And then, like I said, I'm going to just top stitch around it. You can put your stitch length up if you like the way the look of a top stitch is when the stitch is longer. I put mine up around 3. When I get to an edge, I leave the needle down and then lift the presser foot and pivot. That keeps the needle in the correct spot for me so it doesn't move around. If your machine doesn't have a needle down position, so when I stop sewing, my needle stays down until I raise it up. If your machine doesn't do that, you can use the hand crank on the side to put the needle back down before you lift up the presser foot and pivot. All right, I'm back where I started. So I'm just going to back stitch there. If you want those stitches to look really nice, you could just sink the stitches inside or tie up a knot and then sink the knot into the fabric. I don't mind back stitching here, so that's what I did to kind of hold the stitches in place. I'm gonna go ahead and put my stitches back down. But the only thing I'll need to do to finish off this project is add on the buttons so that this can wrap around and hook in place. So I'm going to do that in a little bit and show you each of the pieces done and on the iron. But for right now, I'm going to move on to the second project, which is the iron sole plate protector. So for that, we need to first cut the ribbon in half. So I'm going to untie that, and to cut it in half, I'm just going to hold the ends together in one hand and then just snip it in half with some scissors. And I'm going to set that down. Okay, so like I'm literally just looking at this right now as we go. Now, so it says on one of the 6" by 12" prints of fabric, place one end of the ribbon 4 inches from one end and sew it in place, and then repeat that on the opposite side. Okay, so that seems easy enough. So 4 inches. So we'll have one here. I'm going to put a pin in and mark the other side. All right, so I got those in place. So now I'm going to just sew across the ribbon at about 1/8 of an inch. And just as I did with the other project, I back stitched over them. And then I'll remove the pins. All right, so we're gonna take the other piece of fabric now and place it right sides together. And make sure that the ribbon is all tucked inside. You don't want to accidentally sew over any parts of it except for that, the ends that we already tacked in place. Okay, if you want to put some pins in here to hold it in place, but we're just going to sew around the two long ends of this and one short end. So I'm going to start at one long end. Now I'm going to sew along the short end. And then the final side that we're going to do for now. No, we don't want to close it off. So I'm going to back stitch, and then I'm just going to cut the corners just so that when I turn this, it lays nice and flat and I can push out those corners nicely. All right, and so now I'm going to turn the project right side out. All right, and so now we're going to insert the Insel Bright inside, and then we're going to turn in the raw edges and give this a good press and then top stitch around it. All right, so I feel like my insole braid is cut just a tad long from how I sewed, so I'm gonna cut off. I'm not gonna pull out the whole thing and put it back in, but I'm gonna cut off a little bit of it so it's a little easier to turn in my edges here. And that'll just make it a tad easier for me. I should have measured before I put it inside, so that's a little tip for you if you're doing this project. Just measure your insole braid first to make sure it'll fit in when turning your edges. You probably could just turn it and push that in and have a little bulk at your seam, but I figure that trimming it would probably make this a little easier for me. Right, so everything is laying nice and flat now. So I'm gonna press around this really well and then top stitch it. All right, so I'm going to put the stitch length back up around 3 for top stitching around here. And I'm gonna start at the side that I folded in first, just to make sure that's tacked down in place. I went a little far. All right, and then I'm gonna top stitch over the stitches that I started, and that'll tack it all in place. And this is almost finished. It's not completely finished yet. All right, so it says to bring the ends together that are on the opposite side of where we sewed the ribbons on, and then sew them together. So I think we are kind of like top stitching again along there. So I'm gonna do that and see how it looks. Make sure that's what we're doing. So I'm just trying to go along the stitches I already did before. Back to that, which I probably shouldn't have done just in case I interpreted wrong. But I think this is right. This is where the point of the iron is going to go in and protect it when you're traveling. So that's how it looks in the picture anyway. And if you want, you could just kind of make this reversible if you want the outside of it, that seam to be hidden and this to be the inside. Just kind of think about that when you're doing this. If you want that seam to be hidden, you can just tuck it in, and then this will be the right side of the project, which I think for me probably works out really well since this is lighter fabric. If I had any gunk or anything on the iron, it wouldn't show up as much on the darker side. So I'm gonna put the button on the other project and I'll show you how it looks on my iron. All right, so I'm gonna show you how everything looks finished, how it looks on my iron. So you see here I have the button on now. And what I'm gonna do is slide my iron in here. It actually fits really well. I was a little worried because I feel like my iron is pretty big, but it fits in here pretty nicely. And then I'm just gonna tie the ribbon here in place. Don't worry, my iron was not on at any point today. I was using a different one. Why am I doing it on the farther side from me? Because my brain's not working, that's why. So I'm going to tie that in place. This is really nice because if you go to like a quilting class or a quilting retreat or somewhere where you want to travel with your iron and you don't have a big case for it, this will protect, you know, where the heat is if you haven't let it cool down all the way. All right, and so now I'm going to bring my cord. My cord is so long on here. See what I mean for my husband not loving this laying everywhere. So I think I'm gonna put it here and see if that'll work around the handle too. Would be nice. I think it will for me. So there we go. I like that it's large enough that it'll go around the handle as well to keep that attached there. I need to tie that a little tighter, but I think it's all really cute. I think that's a cute little project. Very useful. I love when the projects are something that is useful that I can use. I love obviously cute little decorative quilts and everything and wall hangings, and of course I love doing projects like this, but useful ones are really, really nice as well. So let me know what you think of this month's box. I think the row houses are really, really cute as well. So I'm definitely going to set that one to the side for when I can work on it as well. But I'm so happy that just already I have one of the projects done in the box, and I love that it is a useful project. So another fantastic box from Monique. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.